Well, hello sweet people, and welcome back to the channel. Or if it's your first time here, welcome. Especially, I'm Sally and I'm so glad you've stopped by. This week I am sharing a week of pro-metabolic dinners, specifically things that I just threw together with what I had on hand, because I feel like that can be helpful to think about just different ways to throw different things together to make them extra yummy, and of course just meal inspiration as a whole. So day one, we had gotten back from the gym. On the later side, it had been a full work day, so Samuel and I were both pretty sleepy, and I just grabbed these chicken sausages out of my fridge, tossed them in a pan, and had them with some leftovers we had on hand. So these are like the garlic sausages from Trader Joe's. I'm going to be honest, I would not buy them for this purpose again. I've had these garlic sausages like cold, sliced up with crackers and cheese, which sounds kind of weird, but that was actually quite tasty. I just didn't really like them in this application. And I have tried a few other of the chicken sausage, like fully cooked chicken sausage flavors from Trader Joe's, and they're okay, but they're not my favorite. But all of that goes to say you can use, any sausages you have lying around, whether they're fully cooked or not. They all cook up pretty quickly, and it's an easy thing to throw together. So we had it with some leftover brown rice. I do, whenever possible, soak my brown rice before I cook it. That helps to make it more digestible and remove some of the anti-nutrients. If you struggle with your digestion, especially if you have difficulty with cruciferous vegetables, whole grains, things of that sort, then try soaking your grains or fermenting them, and it will most likely make a difference. Had it with some leftover zucchini and some kimchi. Easy dinner to throw together, and the next day. So the next day is one that required a little bit of forethought. The night before, which is where we are now, I was starting some focaccia. This is not a sourdough focaccia recipe, but it is still really fantastic, and it's from Salt, Fat, Acid, Heat. I'm going to link this recipe below, and if you want a sourdough recipe, there are plenty online. Just give it a search. But what you do here is throw your ingredients together. I got really crappy flour because I panicked in the grocery store because everything was so expensive, and I panic bought that. But anyway, it's okay. Just invest in good flour. Don't make my mistake. Anyway, I'm going ahead and mixing everything up. That goes into the fridge overnight. And the next morning, you're going to pull it out. You're going to grab a baking sheet, and you're going to douse that baking sheet in olive oil. You will empty your dough, place your dough, we'll say, onto the baking sheet. And over the course of 30 minutes to an hour, it says specifically in the recipe, which again will be linked below, you're going to stretch it out to fit into the pan, and then you are crinkling it, we'll say, as I'm doing here. Focaccia is then traditionally topped with a salty brine and more olive oil. As Samin explains in the book, focaccia was something that was often made ahead of time and then taken to work out in the fields, in Italy, when people might not have time to eat a full meal because it has so much olive oil in it, it kind of sticks to your bones. But it's also just a delicious treat to have with dinner. Okay, so now we are making the main event for this meal. I am throwing together some meatballs. Just threw an egg in a bowl with some ground beef, adding some salt, adding some seasoning. You can add breadcrumbs to your meatballs if you have any on hand. I didn't, and it's not a big deal. Still comes together nicely. Throwing in some garlic and then some Parmesan cheese. So you'll see here in a second that I reserve part of my Parmesan cheese to go on top, and part of it goes into the meatballs themselves. You could also add fresh basil. I again garnish with fresh basil, but I don't think today I put any actually in the meatballs. You could do fresh oregano. You can just do, if you really are short on time, don't have fresh garlic, you can just do garlic powder, onion powder, anything like that. But okay, I made my meatballs, and then I stuck them into the oven. I want to say it was about 20 minutes at 400 degrees. You can find basic guides online for how long to cook meatballs, and of course just can measure the temperature to make sure they're fully cooked or break one open. But then I had this with some sauteed kale. Remember that kale is okay as long as you prepare it properly and you are able to handle it. So if you have serious thyroid issues, then maybe it's something that we are taking a step back from, but otherwise it it is generally okay, don't forget. But yeah, have your veggies and lots of healthy fat because that helps with the absorption of nutrients. I totally forgot to give you a finished shot of that meal, and I am so sorry. Please forgive me, but we're on to the next day, and I am making my coconut curry cod. This is actually one of those recipes that's going to be going into my Pro-Metabolic Beginners ebook. Also, I don't know if you can hear it behind me, but we have a fire going. The house that we are renting right now has this massive fireplace, which is awesome, and we just made our first fire, and it is super crackly. I had to move to the other room, but anyway, you might still be able to hear it. So this recipe is going into my Pro-Metabolic Beginners ebook starter guide. That's really going to provide a detailed kind of step-by-step explanation of how to start eating in a way that really supports your metabolism, and then it includes recipes, a sample meal plan, lots of good stuff like that. It'll be available in November for purchase, so keep your eyes out for that. What I love about this meal is that it incorporates some really beautiful fresh flavors on top. I like to garnish with red onion, cilantro, lots of lime juice. The lime juice really makes the dish, and then have it with rice noodles of some kind. Okay, the next day was my birthday, and my one birthday wish was that Samuel would make me a steak, and he did just that. So he is grilling up some nice ribeyes for us. So beautiful. I can smell it just looking at this footage. I really think I could eat steak every single day, and I can eat a lot of steak, y'all. I mean, I didn't eat the whole thing because I wanted to save some for leftovers, and it was like probably about a pound of meat there, but I could have done it. And then I had it with some garlicky green beans. And what else did we have this night? I think we'll see in a second. I want to say potatoes. Am I right? Am I wrong? We'll see shortly. But also over to the left, there are these brown butter cookie bars that are so good. Okay, yes, we had it with potatoes, steak, potatoes, and green beans, my delicious birthday meal. Okay, last day of the work week. Samuel also had grilled up some chicken earlier in the week, and we are using that up by making some just burrito bowls. I did pick up some avocados, especially for this. That was a little treat, a little splurge, we'll say. So I made some guacamole, threw in, of course, just some jalapeno, cilantro, lime juice. And as you saw, I chopped up some lettuce, and I just, pile anything I have onto these taco bowls, burrito bowls, whatever you want to call them. So we still had some leftover brown rice that went in, as you'll see in a second. Had some lettuce, had that chicken. I put some shredded Parmesan cheese on top, and then the guacamole was that little extra finesse, the bit that really makes the dish. So that can be kind of a helpful hack if you are trying to use up leftovers, but you want to make it feel like something new. Just grab one new, fresh, fun ingredient and turn it into something extra delicious, and just combine it with what you already have to make a completely new dish. But anyways, yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video. It was a little bit chatty, but as y'all know, that is my style. Please don't hesitate to let me know if you have questions, comments, concerns down below. And until next time, bye y'all.